Hello and welcome to Friday's edition, or first edition, of Cracking the Cryptic. This is, of course, the Friday Masterclass video where I try to solve today's Times Cryptic crossword, which is by Andy McCarroll, who I think constructs under the pseudonym Eccles in The Independent. And I'm pretty sure this is the first time I've solved one of Andy's puzzles in one of these masterclasses. But this is the puzzle we're going to try. Let's have a quick look at the statistics. I did look at the statistics first thing this morning. Well, this is actually very interesting to me, at least, straight away. So the first four names here are typists, people who've got the answers from the internet or solved it on paper and then typed in the answers. So we'll ignore them for the purposes of working out how hard the puzzle is. Lily is Liam Hughes, who was a finalist in the Times Crossword Championship 2 years ago, and I sat next to him in the audience for last year's Times Crossword Championship, and Liam, I think, would have come second. It would have been very close between him and Mark. He's a super fast solver. Jason James is a brilliant solver, 6 minutes. Matthew Marcus, 7 minutes. Magoo there is Mark, who I should say happy birthday to, by the way. It is Mark's birthday today. Yeah, 7 minutes 36. And maybe he's been indulging in chocolate cake, because that's a couple of 2.5 minutes, I would say, slower than Mark's average time. Anyway, let's have look a bit further down. Can you get in the top 100? No, you can't get in the top 100 with an error, which sometimes you can on Fridays, because the puzzles on Friday, or the puzzle on Fridays, tends to be the most difficult of the week. Yeah, we'll get started with this in a moment or two's time. There's a few things actually I wanted to mention before we kick off today. Firstly, thank you for your forbearance. If you've been watching the videos this week, especially if you've been watching the Minute Cryptic, you might realise that I have been travelling. Can I show you where I think I might be able to do that one? No, it's this one. That is where I've been. Spending a few days in the most remarkable place. That is the old course at St Andrews, where, well, I've been since Monday, and then I also played at Carnoustie as well, with 3 absolutely terrific people. So thank you very much to Michael, to Matthew, and to Jack. So I will tell you a quick story about Jack's golf. We were playing St Andrews yesterday off the back tee, the furthest tee they would allow us to play off. And I went out in 1 under par gross, which is not great, but it's not terrible. And I was 6 behind Jack. Jack went out in 29 shots. Jack Munro, well, frankly, the best long game I have ever seen in my life. Just and a super bloke to boot. So, and actually, Jack has a great clothing brand as well, which I thoroughly recommend. But anyway, that is where I've been. And what a week it's been. So anyway, so sorry if the sound quality on some of especially the short videos this week, has been a bit strange. Now let's go there, and let's think about other things. Now, I can't quite remember how I did this, but during a Sudoku video a few days ago, I started talking about crosswords, and in particular a crossword I made back in, well, 2006, I think, which eventually saw the light of day in the Magpie Crossword magazine. Now, you might have heard us mention the Magpie Crossword magazine on the channel before. It harks back to when Mark and I first met. We met in around 2000, and at that time the listener crossword, well, I think certainly the listener crossword was edited by Mike Rich, and Mike Rich had a crossword magazine called Tough Puzzles at around that time, and very surprisingly, Mike passed away. It was terrible. It was terrible. And anyway, so Tough Puzzles sort of ceased, and with the permission of Mike's widow, we started up the Magpie magazine, which still goes today. It still appears each and every month, and it is a wonderful source of hard cryptic crosswords. I'm not going to beat around the bush. The puzzles in the magazine are difficult. They're all variant cryptics, so they all have a preamble that tells you, things that you might have to do in addition to solving the clues. So much more in the spirit, I suppose, of the listener crossword or the enigmatic variations. Anyway, back in 2006, I would often create crosswords just in order that they would be rejected by the listener on the grounds that they were mad or too hard or something. And this puzzle appeared in the magazine. Now, this one here, Hope by Pyman, difficulty D. And especially people watching this video might like to have a look at that puzzle. It's over there on the free portion of Patreon. You don't have to pay; you just have to click the link of Patreon at the moment, because that's where we can host it. And you can see there. So there's a preamble. I reread it earlier, and sorry, I'm trying not to sneeze. I do really like that preamble. It's a really good preamble, if I do say so myself. Self-praise is no praise, Simon. And that's definitely true. But anyway, if any of you out there do enjoy hard cryptic crosswords, the solution is in the post on Patreon as well. So be careful which you click on if you don't want to know how to solve this puzzle. It's called difficulty D. In the Magpie, difficulty gradings go from A to E. A being sort of just a bit harder than a standard cryptic crossword in the Times, say, and E being pretty monstrous. I would tend to make all my puzzles around that time with difficulty E, but this was difficulty D, so a mere bagatelle. Yeah, it might be of interest to some of you, and this is certainly the video where I should be mentioning it, not crossword video, sorry, not Sudoku videos, where it's much less likely to be of relevance. Anyway, what else can I mention before we kick off today? I better click. How do I get rid of this now? There, it's gone. It's boiling again, by the way. I've been in Scotland where it's hot, but it's not unbearably hot. And I even felt a raindrop yesterday, which is the first raindrop I felt in 2 months, it feels like. But today in my Surrey attic, it is absolutely boiling. So forgive me if I resemble some sort of melted Simon by the end of the video. Anyway, I would like to say a very happy birthday to Annie today. Annie, who has got, I think really got into cryptics when the Times started to release the quick cryptic crossword, and very well done to the Times for doing that. I know it is a great way of encouraging people to get into this wonderful hobby that we all share. So Annie's done that. She now does the big crossword every day. I like the way it's called, the big crossword. It's like the big room in the R&A. Anyway, I think Annie's been trying to convert her friends and family without any joy yet. Keep trying, Annie. I'm always grateful when I hear that people are trying to spread the word about these wonderful puzzles. And I wish you all the very best with your improving cryptic crossword solving. And I hope today you get, of course, some very heavily iced chocolate cake. And that is all the news. So shall I have a go at this puzzle? Let's click. It's this one, isn't it? I'll have a go at the quick cryptic if I can. The end. Oh no, it's done this again. Don't do this, you silly. Does the Times realise this is going on? I hope it does. Anyway, here we go. Let's have a look at Andy's puzzle. How are we going to do this? We've got one across, which is 10 letters. City function subsequently returned food. Now, I don't know what this one is yet, but let's a quick recap. If you are completely new to cryptic crosswords, I'm going to tell you exactly how all these clues work. They all have a straight definition of the answer to be entered. Very often that straight definition is at the start or the end of the clue. So this might be a 10-letter city, or it might be a 10-letter food. Our job is to work out which. And then the rest of the clue is a recipe that tells you how to build up that answer. So it might say put a word in another word, or it might say reverse some letters, or it might say anagram some letters. Now, it's never going to tell you, there's literally not going to be a clue that where it says city, anagram these letters. It will tell it, the recipe will be flavoured. It has to be precise. It must be precise. But it won't, you have to decipher how to read the recipe properly. So let's go back to this clue. I mean, my instinct is this is going to be a city, just because there are so many cities that would be around this length. Function. Let's look at the word function. Can we think of any short synonyms we could use in a recipe for the word function? Now, when you see function in a cryptic crossword clue, it's quite often a mathematical function. So sine, cos, tan is what I'm thinking. I mean, it could be secant and sec. I can't remember, there's other ones as well. Arctan and things like that. But it could be one of those, but it's less likely. Then subsequently. Can we think of any short synonyms for subsequently? After? Later? Returned? Well, that's going to mean we've got to reverse either subsequent, the word that means subsequently, or the word that means function and the word that means subsequently. Or it could even mean think of a food and reverse that. Just let me think for a second. Subsequently. I quite like later for subsequently, because if you reverse that, you get retal, which feels like an ending for a word. City. I can't think of it. Do I move on? I think I will. Let's have a look at 7 across. 4 letters. I can do this one. Desire sex next to church. Now, let me deal with another point, which is that many of these clues will have been written by the constructor in order to throw up images in your head. Remember that these are not real sentences. They are a series of instructions. So don't get distracted by the pictures they might throw up in your mind. How does this one work? Well, again, we're going to try and cut the clue. Then we're going to be looking at a 4-letter word that might mean desire, or it might mean church. I'm going to go for desire here. So we're looking for a 4-letter word that means desire. The rest of the clue is a recipe. Sex next to church. Now, church, if you see it in a cryptic crossword clue, it has 2 exceptionally common abbreviations. They are CH for Church of England. No, CH actually I think is just Church on Ordnance Survey Maps, and CE, which is Church of England. Now, if I go to the dictionary, abbreviations have to be supported by the dictionary in almost all circumstances. So you can see CH there, it literally lists church. And if we go CE, it lists lots of things, but there's Church of England. So, So desire sex next to church. This has almost certainly got CH or CE in it somewhere. Now, the difficult part of this, if you're a new solver, is this word sex. Because you might be thinking sex, that could be male, female, maybe M or F. If you're having those thoughts, that's a great thought. Here, it's not right. We need to think of a short euphemism for sex. If you have sex, you do it. It, believe it or not, is the euphemism often used for sex. Now, if you think about it and CE or CH, you can create the word itch. And if you have desire for something, you have an itch for it. So itch is the answer there, and we get 2 starting letters. So let's have a look at 7 down. 11 letters, beginning with I. Fanatical about volatile cleaners' bigotry. Fanatical about volatile cleaner. I don't know what this is. The only word here that is I've got any handle on a tool is cleaner. Now, a cleaner, if you used to have a cleaner in the olden days, you'd have a char lady offered. This word C-H-A-R, and believe it or not, it's still used lots in cryptic crosswords today. So if we go to char, a charwoman here, to do odd jobs of work, to do house cleaning. So cleaner and char is very often synonymous. Let me just check that the video is still recording. That's good. So does this have char in it somewhere? No idea, but possibly. I think if it... Well, okay, let me deal with another point of fact as well. You might be looking at this clue, and you might be thinking, well, it says volatile cleaner there. Does that mean I have to treat the letters of char in a volatile way? Do I have to anagram them? No, because that is an indirect anagram. The constructor there would be saying, think of a word that means cleaner, and then anagram that word you've thought of. And that is not allowed. It's considered too difficult for the solver. You know, if you can take any word in a clue and then you have to firstly think of the synonym and then do anagram that, it's just considered one step too far removed, and it won't be allowed. It wouldn't be a valid clue. So we're not, that is not what's going on here. I'm not saying I don't know what's actually going on, but we will not find that this has an anagram of char in it. Let's try 8 down. 6 letters, beginning with C. Run into trees and be unable to stop laughing. Run into trees. I don't know. The word I thought of, which I don't think is right, is crease. I was thinking that R could be a valid abbreviation for the word run. Now that's from cricket scoring, believe it or not. I mean, yeah, it really is. So if we go to R in the dictionary, oopsie, not R-E, R, we will find, don't know where it is, there, run. So run into trees. So I'm probably looking for a 5-letter word that means trees. I'm putting R into it. And to be unable to stop laughing, I was thinking if you crease up, you laugh, but whether you're unable to stop. So now I'm trying to think of trees that begin with C, and the only tree I've thought of is cedar, which I don't think is going to be involved here. Trees, copse. Okay, so it's not trees as in types of trees, it's a group of trees, and a group of trees is a copse, and if I put R in copse, I get corpse. And if you corpse, I mean, a corpse can obviously be a body, but I think we will find, I'm not going to change it, so I will look it up. To corpse is to sort of laugh uncontrollably. Yeah. So, of an actor on stage to forget one's lines, to be incapable of speaking one's lines because of a sudden attack of hysterical laughter. Oh, gosh, I've never seen anyone do that, but that would be funny. Right, let's go for 10 across then. 6 letters. Go after South American's heavenly body. Now, I can do this one. So, again, make yourself go through the process. Force yourself to say, do you think this means go? Does it mean go after? Does it mean body? Does it mean heavenly body? Make a decision and try and justify that decision logically in your mind. Now, if something goes after another word, go after South American. That is very, I was going to say very clearly, that's not what I mean. It is totally possible that that would be a valid recipe for putting a word that means go after something that means South American. To give, to equal a heavenly body. Now, can you think of any short synonyms for go? I can think of 2 that come up. If you have a go at something, you have a try at it, don't you? So try would be one. But also, if you have a go at if it's your go in a board game, it's your turn. So two useful synonyms for go. If we put turn in here and we reread the clue, go after South American's heavenly body. It's not too difficult to see. We're looking for Saturn. The heavenly body is Saturn. SA is a valid abbreviation for South American. Might as well check it while we're here, but I think it'll be there. South America. I wonder. Is it South America? But I'm sure, probably in my dictionary, it's just not there. But South American. Or no, I know what it'll be. How we could get there. South can be S, and American with an N can be A. So maybe that is how you're correctly meant to pass the clue. But anyway, it's clearly valid. Let me just show you. American can be, oh, whoopsie. American. There we go. So we've justified that completely. Let's go back to this one. Fanatical about. If you're fanatical about something, you're into it, aren't you? So maybe it begins with into. Volatile cleaner. Oh. Okay, I've got this. Okay, what I told you earlier. I mean, it was all true, but it's not relevant. Char here is not relevant for the answer. And I even talked about, I didn't actually think it was very likely that the letters of cleaner were going to be used in the anagram fodder, but they are. So what we've got fanatical about, into, and then volatile is saying treat the letters of the word cleaner in a volatile way, anagram them, and then you can create if I could type intolerance, and intolerance is bigotry. So I should really have got that one, but I was overthinking that clue, I think. Should we go for this one? 13. Oh, Glen Eagles, a place I've never played. 8 letters. Slapdash stroke across second and third in Glen Eagles. Okay, I don't know what this is yet, but is it likely that there is an 8-letter word defined by the word Glen Eagles? No. Especially as if there was. Glen Eagles is an example of a golf course. And if a word is used as an example of something, it would have to have a question mark after it. This is quite an important point, so I might just labour this if you'll forgive me for a moment. Let's say this was a 6-letter answer, not an 8-letter answer, and it read like this. Could the answer be course? C-O-U-R-S-E, because Glen Eagles is a golf course? No, it couldn't. If the clue had read second and third in course, and the answer was 10 letters and it was Glen Eagles, that would be fine, because course, an example of a course, is Glen Eagles. But Glen Eagles does not define course. Course could define Glen Eagles, and that causality is very important. Now, the way cryptic crossword constructors sometimes get around this, if they want to use Glen Eagles to define course, they would have to add a question mark here after Glen Eagles to say Glen Eagles is an example of what I'm trying to define. Anyway, all of this means that I think second and third in Glen Eagles is going to be the second and the third letter of the word Glen Eagles, L and E, so possibly here. Something less, slapdash, careless. There we go, and we've just walked into the answer, just by understanding how the clue works. If you're slapdash, you're careless, and if I put caress, if you stroke something, you caress it, across, as in around, bridging the L and the E of Glen Eagles, we can create careless. Hopefully, even some of you who might be mathematically minded and have thought, oh, I won't be able to do cryptic crosswords because they're all about letters, aren't they, and words and language, and it'll be English students who are really good. No, I do not agree with that at all. I think these clues are incredibly scientific and actually perhaps even more play to people who think in mathematical ways. And hopefully you're seeing that as we're talking through the clues. Now let's go for 6 down, 9 letters. Eatery harbours a. Let's stop there. I don't know what the answer is yet, but eatery harbours a feels to me like a very specific instruction. I need to think of a word for an eatery. I'm thinking cafe or brasserie or something, and that's going to harbour, it's going to have an A in it. No, okay, but then it gets a bit more complicated. Penetrating germ on the counter. Okay, I don't know what this means then. Eatery harbours a. Penetrating germ. I don't know what that is. I'm now thinking this might be an eatery. So what I've just been explaining to you is total rubbish. I don't know what that is. Sorry. Let's try 5 down. Content of putrid again. Let's stop there. Don't let the clue get in your head, in the sense that don't read the whole clue and let it throw up images that are just going to discourage us from solving it. Content of putrid feels to me like we're looking at a content of the contents of the word putrid. So UTRI. Cold ulcer regularly ignored in part of ear. Oh. Okay. I mean, is there an utricle? Is this a word? Content of putrid. Cold. If you saw C on a tap, what would you think it meant? It means cold, and it's there. It is justified in the dictionary. And then ulcer. We're looking at the word ulcer, the letters in that word, regularly ignored. So that's saying we're going to ignore the odd letters or the even letters. When I say odd and even letters, I mean the letters. Ulcer is a 5-letter word. Its odd letters are in positions 1, 3, and 5. Its even letters are in positions 2 and 4. Now, we only need 2 letters if we're using the contents of putrid plus the C for cold. So utricle would be a word. I don't know that word. I don't know whether that's a part of the ear. I presume it's part of a human ear. So I'm not going to look that up, but I'm going to leave the letters in because the recipe seems very, very good, doesn't it? It seems like it works. But if I look it up and it's not there, I'll have cheated my way to an answer, and I don't like to do that. So I'm going to look at 14 across. 5, 7. Okay, again, I think we can have a good guess at how the clue works from the first 3 words. So read the first 3 words and think about what they might mean. Rogue helpers upset. We're looking for 12 letters. Now, there is a point here which you could make, and it's a good point, which is if you treat the letters helpers upset in a rogue way, they might be anagrammed. So rogue can do the duty of telling you it's an anagram, but so could upset. So rogue helpers is also 12 letters, and if those letters are upset, that would be a valid instruction. So my sense, and I could be wrong, is that probably upset is more likely to be the anagram indicator. Now, that's actually not, I don't know why I think that, I just do. But anyway, homeless person would then be the definition, wouldn't it? So homeless person, 5, 7. Something sleeper, rough sleeper. There we go. So it is rogue. We need a G, don't we, in rough sleeper. So rough sleeper goes in. And we get a starting letter. Should we go for 12 down first, though? 6, 5 with a G in it in the 3rd position. Maybe circles princess in dance on ice. Well, I can think of a word that fits. Yeah, I can. In fact, I can do this. And if you're totally new to cryptic crosswords, I think you can get this one. So pause the video, give yourself some time to think about it. And remember, it's either going to be a 6-5, a phrase that means maybe or maybe circles, or it's going to mean ice or dance on ice. So, dance on ice? It feels like the answer might be figure skate. Now, if it is figure skate, we need to be able to look at the rest of the clue and justify it. It must be logical. Well, circles are examples of geometric figures. So maybe circles is like the example. If it had been circles ? That could have defined figures. Think of it the other way round. If it had said geometric figures, that would have defined circles, wouldn't it? And that's why the maybe is there. It's saying that actually it's throwing the causality in the other direction. So maybe circles, figures, and our princess is Princess Kate, as in Kate and William. I think formerly Catherine, but the press here all call her Kate. Kate Middleton, I think, originally. So that's how this one works. And let's go for, should we go for this one? 6-6, beginning with R. Lecturer collects a scrap item of old farmyard machinery. Okay. Okay, I'm going to tell you something now that I don't think is relevant to the clue, but it might be. There is, in the Times, if we look at L. Oh, I tried to look at L. If I look at L. There. Believe it or not, the word lecturer can be abbreviated to L, but there are some abbreviations that are considered too obscure for use in a daily puzzle, and I'm pretty sure that is one of them. So if we go back to the dictionary, let's have a look at these. So these are all the possible L abbreviations. Actually, there'll be more. I see like angular momentum. You'd never see that in the daily crossword. You just wouldn't. Molar latent heat. You might see that in the listener, but you wouldn't see that in the daily puzzle. Similarly, these lake you would see in the daily. Lambert, I don't think you would. Latin you might. Learner you would. Lecturer I think you wouldn't. Left you would. Liberal you would. Pound sterling for Libra you would. Licentiate, no. Lira, I just don't think you'd see it anymore now that the currency is defunct. Lock you might. Lock in that spelling you wouldn't. Luxembourg you might. And there's no hard fast rule. It's really only practice that tells you what's. But anyway, I make that point. I think it's more likely we might be looking at a word like reader. If you get a reader at a university, is that a lecturer? And reader collects or a scrap item of old. I think this is going to be farmyard machinery. Unfortunately, I am not a very practical person and would be absolutely useless in any sort of farmyard situation. I don't think I know what this. Well, I'm hoping I'll know it once I get more letters, but I don't think I know it now. Should we go for 15 down? 9 letters beginning with S. Sordid aspect of naval weapons close to Belarus. I've been to Belarus. I'm pretty sure. No, did I go to Belarus? I think I did for either a World Sudoku or a World Puzzle Championship once. But I'm going to reread this clue. Sordid aspect of naval weapons close to Belarus. Now you can see if we put that spin on those last 3 letters, then it's very likely that we're looking at the closing letter of the word Belarus, i.e. the clue has nothing to do with the place Belarus. Belarus has just been chosen because it ends with S and fits the grammar of the overall clue nicely. So if that's right, then we know actually we're looking for a 9-letter word that means sordid or sordid aspect. Naval weapons. Tridents. Torpedoes. Mines. Sordid. Probably ending in S. Aspect. Aspect. An aspect of something is it's a side of it, isn't it? So side. Sordid. I keep thinking of Sidious, Darth Sidious. Is there any... I wonder if there is some root of Sidious that does mean sordid. Sordid. No, I don't know. I don't know what it is. Sorry. Should we have another look at this one? I'm going to look at this without looking at the clue, just to see if I can think of any word that fits. No, I can't. Oh, this was the eatery. Eatery harbours a penetrating germ on the counter. Gastropub. I bet that's the answer. But why? I don't know why. It feels like many of the letters of gastropub are in this clue, though. So eatery would be defining gastropub. Harbours, A. Port. Oh, I see. Harbours A. This is very clever. Harbours A. Harbours are ports. So ports, P-O-R-T-S-A, because there's the A in the clue here. Penetrate, so inside, a word for a germ, which is a bug, on the counter, so reversed. And that gives gastropub. Now this one should be gettable now. Oh, well, city, Strasbourg or something, grub. Returned food. So grub returned is going at the end. So we just have to get the start of this. Function subsequently. Function couldn't be F, could it? Like Fleterberg or Fafterberg or something like that. I don't think they are actual cities. So if this was sine, cos, or tan at the start, subsequent post for subsequently, then function do. Is a function a do as in a party? Gothenburg. Gothenburg is right, isn't it? Gosh, I mean, I think I've thought of every word that means function except the one I needed. If something does functions, it goes. So to function is to go. Subsequently is none of the words I'd said. It's then. And that creates Gothenburg, which is a city. So I'm not terribly cross with myself for not getting that more quickly. I think many of the words in this clue had synonyms I'm more used to and was thinking of much earlier. But now we might be able to do some damage on 2 down, 3 down, and 4 down, where we've got the first letters. So let's go with 2 down first. 8 letters beginning with O. Conservative. Let's stop there. What could conservative be in cryptic crossword land? It could be a C. It could be Tory, as in the Tory party. It could be con, probably. That is probably also a valid abbreviation for conservative. So conservative dignitary, uncovered, old documents reportedly. don't know what that is. Conservative dignitary. I don't know. I'm sorry, I haven't got a clue. I don't understand that one. 3 down, beginning with H. Aspire to shorten first part of track and field event. Yeah, okay. I thought this was going to be hot because I was thinking of the shot put, and then I took the first part of the word shot put off, but it's not that. If you aspire to something, what do you do? To aspire is to hope. And if we shorten the word hope, we get hop. And that is the first part of a track and field event. The triple jump begins with a hop, a skip, and a jump. So that's going to be the answer there. This is probably fly paper or something. Let's stay with the first letters we've got. So 5 down, beginning with N, only performs with new material. So it seems to be, if you read the clue, it seems to be a reference to maybe a stand-up comic who only performs with the new material. Nothing to do with the answer at all. But if we cut the clue in the correct place, it all becomes clear. Make a decision. Where are you cutting the clue? For those of you who are cutting it after the word new, congratulations, that is correct. We're going to cut it after the word new. We need a 5-letter material, as in a fabric. And if the letters of only perform, what might they do? They would move around. So performs is being used to, say, anagram the letters of only. If we do that and we put them with an abbreviation for new, which is N, you might think of New York, NY, that gives nylon, which is the material we're looking for. So this isn't fly paper. 9 across, 8 letters. Painter's second drink, ending in disaster. Stippler is what I'm wondering about. I think stippler is right. Stippling is that when they do the dots, isn't it? So I think a painter who does the dot technique would be a stippler. And I can see how stippler would work with the recipe. So second can be abbreviated to S, as in hours, minutes, and seconds. A drink is a tipple. And the ending in disaster it doesn't mean this situation is ending in a disaster. It's literally saying take the ending letter of the word disaster. And that gives R. Now let's look up stipple. I'm not going to change that one. Stipple. Yeah, it even says dots or separate touches, and there's stippler listed there. Now, what do you think this is? Puffin or boffin? 11 across, 6 letters. One who's gone home, leaving home later than Charlie. Oh. Well, okay. I think I know what this is. I don't quite understand the definition, but I can muddle through the wordplay here, or what I suspect is the wordplay. If we cut the clue after the comma, after that comma there, and let's read the second half of the clue as a recipe. Leaving home later than Charlie. Now, in the NATO alphabet, that's sort of international radio words that work, you might have heard of, like, if somebody said Oscar Bravo Juliet, that would be OBJ. Well, Charlie is used for C. So later than Charlie, so after C, we're going to put leaving home. If you're leaving somewhere, you are off. I'm off, I'm leaving. If you're home, you are in. So coffin, I can make coffin out of the recipe here. Now, one who's gone home, is that a euphemism for somebody who's died? And could that therefore be defined by the word coffin? I don't know, but that's what I'm thinking. If coffin was right, what would this be? Out something? No, I can think of a word that fits here. Orthodox. Why? Okay, if you're conservative, you are orthodox. So that's the answer. We just have to justify it. Dignitary, uncovered. Old. Oh, okay. Let's deal with the end of this first. Documents reportedly. If you see words like reportedly in a cryptic crossword clue, it means something you hear. If something is reported to you, it's told to you. You hear it. And if you hear something, cryptic crossword setters love to play on the difference between things we hear that are spelt very differently. So docs, D-O-C-S, is a short word for a document, isn't it? Or documents. But it sounds exactly like this word, docs. Old, I think, is going to be this O. So dignitary uncovered. Dignitary. What's that going to be? Don't know. I'm not thinking of it. So I think it's going to be a 6-letter word for a dignitary. That's blank, O-R-T-H blank. And that word is going to be uncovered. So it's going to lose its clothing, its first and its last letters. Dignitary. A dignitary is like a mayor or a member of the nobility, or a lord, or a... Is it, okay, is it lord? And then though. Uncovered. Old documents. Though. Old. I'm not sure. I can't work out quite how this works. I think conservative is the definition. Dignitary. The thing I'm struggling with is which. I think old must be this O. O is a valid abbreviation for old. Docs must be this homophone. But then dignitary uncovered. Blank O-R-T-H blank. What is the dignitary I'm not thinking of there? What's the last letter of this dignitary? Is it A-E-I-O-U or Y or something else? Surely not something else. I'm not sure. Don't know. I know I'm missing something there, and I'm certainly not. I don't think I'm missing enough that the answer isn't orthodox. I think I'm just not thinking about in the correct way about how dignitary being uncovered is meant to be interpreted. Dignitary. Yeah, not sure, but I'm going to leave orthodox in. Now we get an X there, if that's correct. So maybe we're looking at a homophone. Have we got any other weird letters? We've got a K, we've got a B, and a Y here. It's possible, isn't it, that we're looking at a pangram. But let's go back to this one. Lecturer collects a scrap item of old farmyard machinery. Something... I've heard of a baler. That's a farmyard machine, isn't it? But what about a lecturer? Oh, maybe somebody who rants is a lecturer. So maybe this ends T-E-R? Robert Bunter or something, I don't know, collects a scrap. Item of scrap item. I don't know. I'm guessing here, and that's not a good strategy. I'm going to go for 19 down. 6 letters. Protective equipment started to hold line. I want that to be shield. What do we think? Protective. Equipment could be rig or kit. Started to hold. Gosh, I don't know what that is either. Okay, I need to get some more answers. So let's move on rather than me sitting there like a lemon. Right, 8 letters. Pursue around St. Ives primarily to rebuke. Okay, I think yeah, I've got this one. Again, force yourself to go through the process I've just gone through in my mind, and where do you think the definition is here? Which parts of the clue read like they could be a recipe? Now, pursue around. Obviously, that could mean to sort of to shadow somebody, but it could also be saying, think of a word that means pursue and put it around something. If you pursue someone, you chase them. And if we were to sort of conjecture that the word chase then used this S, we could create this construction. And it would mean we're looking for an 8-letter word, which means rebuke. And all of a sudden the clue is solvable, isn't it? It's chastise, and we just have to justify the back end of it. Actually, it's C-H-A-S-E. It's this S that's part of chase. And around S-T, saint, and Ives primarily is saying take the primary letter of the word Ives. So that one is more doable, and we've got that one. Let's keep going with these. 22 across, 6 letters. King and Jack, perhaps, or 2 other high cards. King and Jack, perhaps. A Jack is a card? King can be K, but it can also be CR for Charles Rex, our current king. I mean, it could be GR, George Rex, prior kings. King and Jack, perhaps. Or 2 other high cards. Okay. Is this some... I'm not sure. The word that's just popped in my head, which I am very much not sure is a word, is pinace. P-I-N-A-C-E. And I'm wondering if that is some sort of bridge reference to 2 court cards. So King and Jack, perhaps, maybe could be described as that. The only reason I like the ace at the end, because an ace is a high card. So I would like so if the recipe here was 2 other high cards, ? And this was a 3-letter word for a high card, that would totally work as a recipe. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure why the word pinace has drifted. And is a pin a high card? I don't feel like it is. Okay, let's leave ace in and have a look at 25. 4 letters. Smackhead zealously guards cutting tool. Okay, this is easier. Well, it's only easier if you know the cutting tool that's being referenced. But there's normally at least one of these in every Times crossword. These are the ones you always look for when you start to solve. And it's a hidden. The answer is literally hidden in the clue. But the constructor has to tell you they've hidden the answer in the clue. And Andy's done that here by using what guards. So if we look at the letters smackhead zealously, they are guarding the answer we're going to write in, and there is this word adze, A-D-Z-E, which you can see is spelt out in the little smackhead zealously. And if we go into the dictionary, adze, also with this weird spelling that's useful in Scrabble, a cutting tool with an arched blade. So is this shield then? Tenace is what tenace is. That's going to be. I have heard of a tenace. Two other high cards. A 10 is quite a high card. An ace is a high card. So it's tenace. All right, I'm not going to change tenace. I am going to look it up, and then I'm going to look up pinace, just in case that is a word. Tenace, a combination in one hand of cards, next above and next below the other side's best in the suit. Okay, now have I just made this up? I think there might be a word pinace with double N. Oh, there is. It's a boat. Okay, sorry, my brain was scrambling me. But now this must be shield. Protective equipment. Started to hold line. Oh, I see. No, that's very nice. Very nice. Right. If you're a horse, let's start with that. If a horse shies, what does it do? It sort of goes, "Ooh, nay." Why did I do that? Well, it does. And in doing that, it could be described as having started. It's been startled. If you start, you sort of jolt, don't you? So shied here, S-H-I-E-D, is to hold L, which is a valid abbreviation for line. So it's simple enough once we get the right idea. Now, let's go for 18 down, 7 letters. Former Queen Elizabeth's introduction confused a loner. This is Eleanor of Aquitaine, is it? Oh, well, I think the tricky thing here, and this is a hallmark of many good cryptic crossword writers, is that they will put two-word phrases into a clue that it's very hard for our brains to separate. So here that phrase is Queen Elizabeth. Whereas actually to solve the clue, we must split the clue between Queen and Elizabeth. Because actually we're looking for a 7-letter former Queen. Elizabeth's introduction, well, that's the letter E. And confused Elona is saying let's confuse the letters Elona. And if we do that, we can create Eleanor. And certainly Eleanor of Aquitaine was Henry II's wife. I don't know if she was formerly a queen, but I think there was a Queen Eleanor. Anyway, so this is the answer, I believe, and I can certainly justify it. And we get an N in 23 across. 8 letters. So starting with N. French commune organised. Retrospective. Good for them. Well, good in French is bon, isn't it? So I'm wondering if this organised, retrospective, good for them. French commune. Well, when I first read the clue, I thought it was going to be an anagram of commune and F. I'm not so sure now. I think it might begin with N-O-B, being a retrospective, a reversal of the word good for the French. I don't know though. Is it the name of a French commune? I don't know. I'm not sure. No. Organised. If something is organised, it's run or ran. So maybe it's Nar. Oh, Narbonne. I've heard of Narbonne. Narbonne. Maybe Bonne can be in the feminine. Maybe it can be O-N-N-E ending. Narbonne. I've definitely heard of Narbonne. I think I've been to a beach in Narbonne. Is that possible? I have the weirdest memory then. I used to... One of my great friends growing up was a lad called Philip Howarth. Super clever guy. And with the most wonderful family. And I used to go on holiday with them every summer to France. And we'd hire a gîte or a chateau. And I have the weirdest memory that I've been to Narbonne with them and there was a nudist beach. And now I'm going to look this up after the video and we're going to find out that Narbonne is nowhere near a nudist beach and probably nowhere near the sea. And I'm going to feel very silly, but I think that there is a place called Narbonne. And I think I've been there. And I think as a sort of 12-year-old child, I was very shocked that there was a nudist beach. And if that is true, then my memory hasn't played tricks on me. And I will send this email to Phil, who will find it quite funny. Narbonne. You see, I could be getting it confused with places like Carcassonne, which rhyme. I get all sorts of things confused that rhyme. But anyway, Narbonne, I think that might be a French commune. Narbonne. So if it is Narbonne, if you organise something, you ran it, that's treated retrospectively. And then good, as in bonne nuit or bonne chance, but I think in some bonds, if the noun you're saying good about is feminine, I think it ends differently. So I could believe this is Narbonne. Let's see if O is justified here. Oh, lubricant could be oil. Periodically used. Social. So we saw this earlier with I can't remember what the word was. Ulcer regularly. Let's go to this one. Look at the word social, and we're going to use that word periodically. So in this time, we're going to take the even letters. O-I-L. Oil. Well, oil is a lubricant, so fairly straightforward. Let's go for 26. 10 letters. County snubbed. Very famous artist, possibly. If things are snubbed, they're cut short, aren't they? If you cut someone short, you snub them. I think a snub nose is like a nose that's like, it doesn't go to a point at the end. So I think that this is going to be a 10-letter word for a county. Snubbed very might be saying, it could even begin VER. I can't think of any counties that do. Oh, and that's a horrible ending as well for the one. I don't know. Should we go to this one? Oh, there we've looked at this one. We thought this might end in S. Oh, so, yeah, I've done it. Okay, so that's very helpful. That's remembering how we thought this one might work, has given me this one. So it was the moment I thought that this might end with S, because do you remember the close to Belarus? And now, county, well, where am I? I'm in Surrey. And if I snub Surrey, so cut it off short, I can create Sur, and it looks like surrealist or something, doesn't it? Very famous. If you're very famous, you're on the A list. So surrealist is the answer. And an artist is possibly a surrealist. It could have been artist ? For those of you wondering about the earlier discussion. Let's go for 21 down. 5 letters. Church official. Cut. Grass next to road. Well, yes. What would we call the grass next to a road? Verge. Oops. And a verger is a church official. And we're going to cut the verger short. So let's look at verger. Oh, not burger, that's a townsperson. Oh, no, I was going to say it's a townsperson, but maybe that's with a U. And I managed to spell it wrong again. I'm trying to type in V, Simon. Verger. There we go, a church official. So, verger, cut the end off. We just get verge. Now, we should be able to get this one. Vienna for a capital. Sorry, I shouldn't have done that. I know people don't like it when I just look at the clue and go, "Burr." 6 letters beginning with V. Predecessor of King George IV, rebuffed, capital. Well, yeah. So what? I mean, obviously, and I think anybody reading this clue would have been tempted by the answer Vienna. Why is it Vienna? Or why is it? Yeah, so predecessor of King George is Anne. So the fourth part is this. It's actually the IV here. So we've got Anne, IV, rebuffed, reversed. So we can create Vienna out of the letters that we need. Now, we've never looked at this, but we can do this one, I think. Writes about square hills, 8 letters. Make the decision. What's the definition? And the way to get the definition often is to read the clue and think which bits of this clue could possibly read as a word as a recipe. And this word about, that's indicating the position of something. If you put something about something else, or you turn it about, you're moving it somehow. So very often words like that are part of the recipe. So write, we need a short synonym for writes. If you write a poem, you would pen it. Put pen around a square number, that number being 9, 3 squared, we get pennines, which are hills. Now I'm going to go for this one first. Sordid. Sordid aspect. Seaminess? Sea mines. Oh, that's really clever. Sordid aspect of naval weapons close to Belarus. Well, a sordid aspect of something would be seaminess, but this is justifiable. Naval weapons are sea mines, and the close to Belarus is the S. So seaminess is going to be the answer, and then this one, this is our farmyard machinery. Oh no. Lecturer collects a scrap item of old farmyard machinery. It does look like it might be reader, doesn't it? Lecturer. Was old farmyard machinery. Reaper? I think it might be Reaper at the start. The only reason I like this is it's starting with perhaps the reader for the lecturer, but collects A. Now this A, when I first read the clue, I thought it was going to be that A, like it collects the letter A. But if you think about other synonyms for the word A, if you were going to say each person or a person, it would be per person. Per is the Latin word for A. So I think this might be collects A scrap item. Scrap, if you bin something, you scrap it. So reaper binder. So reader, if reader is a lecturer, that goes around per bin, and then an item of old farmyard machinery would be a reaper binder. Do we think there is a thing called a reaper binder? And have we got a pangram? We haven't got a Q, have we? Nearly. I think I would go for this. Okay, I'm going to go for that. Submit without leaderboard. And there are 2. Okay, it's correct. So we're going to look up utricle and reaper binder now. The dictionary won't tell me about the Narbonne nudist beach, but reaper binder. Oh, no, it's not there. A reaper binder. Reaper binder. I don't think it's there, is it? Am I missing it? I can't see it. It's not in the dictionary. Goodness me, that's a tricky one. Okay, let's try utricle. Oh, hang on. I hadn't spelled that one. An utricle is a little bag, bladder, or cell, a chamber in the inner ear. So, I mean, that's quite interesting. Reaper binder. I mean, it's a very lively puzzle, actually, in terms of vocabulary, isn't it? Yeah, and you have to know a little bit about some things, like stippling is a funny thing. You've got to know there's a place called Gothenburg. Suspect that there's a word in utricle. If you don't know it, I mean, tennis, a little bit of a bridge reference. Narbonne, Eleanor for the Queen. It's a really good puzzle. It's really good. Very enjoyable and a lot to think about and learn from. So I hope it was useful for me to do it in that way, and that it does something for your own cryptic crossword solving. Now I've got a penchant for having a quick go at the quick cryptic, hopefully at the end of these videos. So let's see if we can do some. Oh no, is that going to cost me time? Probably is. Let's see. Chico, volume about exposed lives, emotive, feels like emotive. Let everybody down, essentially allow, understood. I want that's tacit. Protein in stale nuts, that is an anagram, I don't know it. Accompanied fool, stopping when confused, accompanied. Animal in ancient times, aboard art, what a brilliant surface. Toucanos, I don't. Reportedly a picked. Remove TV set up in vacated domus. TV is a box. Remove something. D something. Perform under girl in charge of a myriad stars. Galactic? Yeah, it is galactic. Carefree couples starting. BL Lithe. Lithe spirit. Indeed. Tense wife in couple. Couple is a two, a pair. What's that? Tense. Oh, I see. It's twin. I was thinking, what's going on there? Oh no, I don't know this protein. Berry intersect. The cross is to intersect. Era. I can do that one. Shade house periodically is a hue. Shocking actor is out, mostly performed. Writer's attitude, Democrat, forced on others. Don't know. Deputy Colonel repeating, low come. Odd hint of dew on dam. Don't know. Sharp knife left in strange places is scalpel, I think. Okay, meet with, met with. No. Accompanied, went with. Animal. Bobcat? Ancient times BC. That's a great clue. Goodness me. Composition of D sharp U almost screwed up. Rhapsody on a theme of Paganini. Company skillfully covering bungle up. Company. Assembly, I presume. Or it could be assemble. Do I have to check that? Company skill. Ably. No, that's okay. Naughty esprit. Plants impetuous. Former princess breaks. Radish. Die in the middle. Hold old trophy in 100 years. Occupy. Old cup in century or something. Asia. State or area south of Island. Isle of Wight area. Iowa. Youth lead. Okay, so we've got our protein. Elastin or something like that. Is that a protein? Delete? Yeah, telly upside down. Shocking. Atrocious. insipid. Oh no, imposed. Odd hint of dew on dam. Weird. Describes me very nicely. Now it's going to break, isn't it? Chico. 8th. Not terrible. A brilliant puzzle, actually. Very. Oh, it was like there was an eclipse. The light went out. So let's see how we did there. Not very well. 347 compared to Jason James 218. Ridiculous time. But anyway, we got it done. Oh goodness, sorry. I hope you can still see it on the screen. And I think you can. And that was really rather lovely. Let me know in the comments how you got on with the puzzle. I do enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind. And let us know how your cryptic crossword solving is going. Please do like and please do subscribe to these. It's, well, all the time really on the channel, but especially the crossword videos. The algorithm doesn't like them, but we like making them and want to continue with that. So, oh, there's a Nina in there. Look, watch this space spelt out in the middle of the puzzle. That's great. Well done, Chico. I very much approve of Nina's in crosswords. Anyway, sorry. Anyway, so see you later for more cracking the cryptic. Bye for now.